I saw this just before I left. It's hilarious. Right though? I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, I always say Jesus was a magician. So he was. He's trying to show us that we could do what he does. You know, get out of the boat, come meet me, come walk to me. You know, all these things I can do, so can you. Magic, theology, science, all used to be one thing until King James came along, fucked everything up. Magic became something that's in fairy stories, you know, and the good fairy, not the bad kind of fairy ones. But yeah, it was nice to talk about it yesterday, but it's not very pressing, you know. It's something that when I first started doing this, I'd talk a lot more about that stuff, because I just know a lot more about that stuff than most other things. But everything is so crazy though now in the world, and it's just one thing on top of another. I feel like, you know, I need to discuss what's happening to my people across the world. It's a lot more urgent, because even though, like, the civil war possibility, the race war possibility, like, even though we know that is being done from the top, they're purposely doing it, they want this to happen, it still doesn't change the physical effect that we're dealing with it here in the 3D, no matter what. You know, you say, they just want the race war, they want the race war. You still have to watch out for, you know, lone black people on the corner though, you know, even though we know they're being pushed from the top, it's still a reality that we have to deal with. Or if you're a farmer in South Africa, God forbid, you have to live like you're on a paramilitary compound. I don't know how those people do it. And like, how much of Africa's food do they farm? I mean, we've seen parts of Africa before where they kicked the farmers out and then started starving, had to have them come back. And they were happy to see them come back. You know, they show the media coverage when they wooed them back, and everybody was happy, and there's all a bunch of smiling black people around them. But how long till they kind of forget that, oh yeah, they make our food, and start turning on them again? Because we're not talking about sophisticated people here. You know, I don't know. I just get out of that. I get out of that African thing. And then Trump kind of took some of the white people in, and they're getting killed over there in large numbers. I mean, there's a whole, you got to look into that. You know, here in America, we don't know much about it. They keep it from us. But, oh, there's the magic guy. He's a magician, like a stage magician. He always looks really cool. He's got cool clothes on. Walks around giving people cards to come to his show. I always wanted to talk to him, but I never have. Just the reason I want to talk to him the most is so that I can do the meme. You know, you're a magician, huh? I'm something of a magician myself. One thing non-whites don't like is rain. Every time it rains here, like even a little bit, like a light drizzle, everybody runs for shelter. It's just something I took notice of. And the people walking around are usually me and other people that look like me. That's what black people say. Yeah, black people don't like it at all. They shriek. They shriek and run for fucking shelter from like a little drizzle. I don't know why that is. They fucking run from a lot of stuff though. Rats, snakes. It's all that estrogen. You know, they got more estrogen in their bodies than we do. Probably something like that. It makes them good R&B singers though. You know, they get into that caterwauling. Yeah, it's one of those days where it's sunny and raining sunny. Or it drizzles a little bit. So we're doing that right. Almost like someone and it's always light, very light rain, like someone taking a water can and just going over the island or the. But yeah, there's so much to talk about with the world the way it is, especially if you're, a white person. We're what, 7% of the world population now? And we're always like helping everybody else out because we see them as like minorities or something. It's kind of funny. It's not even about us. It's like just because I'm an old man, but it's future generations. I don't have kids. God never blessed me with children. It just wasn't in His plan for me, for whatever reason. And yeah, it bums me out sometimes. I do wish some things were different. I think me and I would have been good parents, and that does bug me. I try to think like, oh, it's not in my plan, God, blah, blah, blah. It bothers me sometimes, The more older I get, it does, but what are you gonna do, All right, I mean, make sure what side I want to be on. You can figure that out just by a quick look. I don't want to be around that scary black guy. Yeah, so I'm just looking really mean. Got that mean face on. Right here. I gotta run to the store. Yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is getting a lot of his cuts around YouTube these days. Well, not him himself. Other people are posting. Same thing with Gypsy Crusader. I'm seeing him everywhere now. I think as things get worse, people get more frustrated, especially in light of the knife attacks high up there. Excuse me. Not to say that stuff doesn't happen, because it does happen every day. All I gotta do is look at the black on white crime stats for any day. It's like that, So whether or not that happened for real, it's good that people think it's real because it's something that happens all the time. I mean, if we were like South Africa and they were the majority here, like they are there, they'd do the same thing to us that they're doing there, which is, ethnically cleansing us. Nick, one of his cuts that was making around his survival guide, for like a city survival guide, like how to live around black people and stuff. And his first one is carry a gun. That's really hard to do in this country. I couldn't do it just because of my mental health thing. I was going for concealed carry in the mid-90s, and because I was a business owner, I had friends that had concealed carry. What's going on over here? Someone yelling. But who? Some guy out there on the street. Crazy. But, yeah, I had all the ducks in a row, and it's kind of a weird story. I was putting my time in at the range, and I go to this range up in New Hampshire, and New Hampshire's all white people, or used to be. I don't know what it's like now. And some of the targets would be able to choose. You'd have like a woman hostage, or you'd have a soldier up on a thing. There was a whole like section of what they call the darkies. They're all targets that had like different scenarios of black people. It's gonna be hard. Hold on. Okay, got too much in my hands here. Yeah, like it's written on pen on the section where they all are, that just says darkies, and they're different guys, and like street gear, or holding like a white lady, and they're very popular targets. But I was putting my range time in, and then I started having these crazy nightmares about losing my gun, or leaving it in places, and at first I was like, oh, it's just anxiety because, I'm going for the gun thing. But they kept happening. And they were getting more intense. And I just had a really bad feeling. And it was around the time when I first encountered me and my friend John, who were living at the store. We first encountered the demon. I told the story before. It was during a solstice. So we were seeing into her dimension. It was fucking horrifying. This whole thing. It's probably in the demon. No, I know it's in the demon playlist. I did a couple videos where I described what happened. It was fucking horrifying. But yeah, it was a real weird time, and I just didn't feel super good about it. So I just, my friend Mark was helping me get through it. He's sponsoring my way through it. He had a fucking awesome gun collection. He was my old manager, and we'd do these band photos with like machine guns and stuff. But yeah, I said, you know what, man? I'm kind of nervous about it. I don't know why I'm just not feeling good about it. I don't need one. And I really didn't need one. It was just at the time, my sort of group of friends were just getting them. It was just a cool thing to do. And I had all the things. I had a business and all the, family in the law enforcement. I had all the things that I'd have to put through to get one. So I didn't get one then. And then I was thinking, well, I could always get it down the line. All these things are still in place, But now, being institutionalized, you can't get a fucking gun license. And there's nothing done. But I wouldn't feel good about carrying one anyway. Even back then, it was like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. It was like something was telling me, like, I'm not good to have one. And I think there's a lot of stuff that goes along with that. Like, if you have one, it's kind of more likely a lot of other bad things can happen. To me, that's just my idea. I always carry a weapon. Trust me, I have a weapon on me. But I use what I call non-lethals. There are always weapons that I either construct myself or household items that could be used as something else. That way, if I get busted here, they could be like, what is this? So I'm like, oh, this is just it's for a shelving unit, or you know what I mean? I don't have any real weapons. But I always carry something. You have to. And times here, right? Just having it in my pocket, reaching for my pocket has got me out of situations. The last time was I was coming back from that store, except I was going toward Trujillo, and there was a white dude just standing against the wall. He looked like a dad. He looked like Chevy Chase from fucking Vacation. Like, he looked like a tourist on vacation. He's got a polo shirt, and he's like, you're gonna talk to me right now. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He said, yes, you are. We're gonna have a talk right now. And I stopped and I turned. I reached down to my pocket, and he went back about 5 steps and started quickly walking down the street, screaming at me. He smelled like alcohol, so he's really drunk. But I didn't even have to take anything out. I just my hand went for it. Another time, the same thing. Homeless guy. My hand goes from my pocket. He starts pulling his bag out, like he's going to pull something out, but he's running at the same time, and that was just the end of it. So I've only had a weapon, and I usually have different ones, in my hand a couple times, where I had it in my hand because I thought something was going on. One where I interceded on a guy picking on this little European guy. He was a brown. He was picking on one of my white brothers. He was just clowning him, like, I think he was drunk. And I go over and like, leave him the fuck alone. He's clearly nervous but laughing about it. And he's like, no, I'm doing a social experiment. And he was with the guy that was bullying him was with an Asian kid who I usually think better of. So I looked to his Asian friend. I'm like, get this guy under control. We're going to have a huge problem here. So he's like, come on, man, come on. He pulls his friend away, and the little guy goes off on his... I could tell when there's a bad... You can just tell, you can feel it. That time I had something in my hand. Because the guy who was like, it's just a social experiment. When he's telling me it's a social... He got up real close to me, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me. And that's when I went and put it in my hand. The next move was to get him in the face. The thing is, I'm not, I'm not the guy to ask about this kind of stuff. But my idea is to always do the most violent, painful, and blood-inducing thing you can at first. To make as big of a horror show scene with your attack as you can. And then it just takes the wind out of them. You know, I'm not doing Queensberry rules. If I think I'm in danger, I'm not going to be like, all right, well, let's square up, sir. And fucking, throw my mustache on and put my little dukes up like the unicycle riding man. No, I'm going to do something that's going to border on mayhem. Which kind of means you also have to get the fuck out of there as soon as you're done. But yeah, produce a lot of blood. It doesn't even have to be pain. Like you get someone in the nose and get the blood flowing. It's more about getting blood out there than actually damaging someone. Just do something that'll draw blood, because people see that and it kind of freaks them out. Try to make as ugly a horror show as you can, as fast as you can, and that usually shuts shit right down. That, and how fast can you come back from getting punched in the face? Because a lot of times you're going to get hit. Again, it's speed of reaction. You know, getting punched in the face, so it fucking sucks. But how fast can you come back from that? You know, your sinuses are all blown out. You have to stay in it. The adrenaline's going. That usually helps you. So it's like, how quickly can you come back from an attack, and how quickly can you do a bloody horror show attack? You know, those are the things I think about. If the guy's big, I look at his knees. You know, the first thing, the big guy, especially, even guys that like work out, like, big muscle heads, they always have little legs. They have little legs. Always look for their knees. You know, they don't have this going on. Not many people have calves like that. You know, they all have little tiny, some of them get calf implants, which is fucking hilarious. But that's the hardest part for bodybuilders to build up. Yeah, it's fucking, you just gotta be aware. I don't know if that was a good show of my calves. I'm not gonna do it again. I'm not gonna flex. I'm not going to flex my awesome calf muscles. It's the only good thing I have as far as muscles come from. I don't even know why I have them like that. I've been asked about it several times throughout my life. I never have a good answer. Yeah, I don't know. When I was younger, I went through those periods of wanting to get big, all my friends got into bodybuilding, just like the gun thing, all my friends got into bodybuilding. Some of them started doing steroids. I don't like the feeling of a needle inside me, so I was never into doing that. But I used to be the dart man for everybody, because I was the best one at doing it. I don't know why. But what I would do is you just have to put it right in their butt. And then once it's in there, put it right in their butt. I was putting it in all my friends' butts. Now you get the needle and you just doink them in the ass like a doink them in the ass. You stick the needle in one of their ass cheeks. And once it's in there, then you put the plunger down. And I guess I was really good at doing it. I don't know what that says about me. Although, I never was a bottom. So, I used to do that for all my friends, and they got really fucked up from that. They ate like all kinds of junk food, and they'd get zits on their back, and they would get in fights with their girlfriends. It was getting bad. One of my friends stayed on them, and everybody else kind of dropped off it. It was just a fad for a while, doing the steroid thing. But I used to have subscriptions? No. I used to have memberships to like Gold, a place called Ironworks. And I noticed that with very little work, I could get myself looking pretty good as far as looking bigger. I just have like a wide build. Especially my midsection. Whatever. I'm not going to show you now, but I'll put it on my OnlyFans. But So it doesn't take me long to do it. But once I stop, I go right back to, unimposing guy. What's imposing right now is these fucking things. Why won't they open? There you go. But yeah, it's funny the little fads you go through growing up. That's called your 20s. When you get in your 20s, or at least in my experience, you're trying to figure out what kind of guy you're going to be. You start looking at other kinds of guys, like, oh, he's a motorcycle guy. Yeah, you just get like I had friends that did that too, and then you're that guy. Or you're like the workout guy. I couldn't be workout guy because I determined if you really want to be workout guy, you needed to take steroids. I wasn't really taking steroids, so I could never be the workout guy. I'm gonna be a gun. I couldn't be gun guy because I was having these night terrors about losing my gun. But yeah, there was always you go through these different things where you're trying to figure out what kind of guy you're gonna be. The sad thing is, right, when you're growing up, in your 20s, 30s, sometimes 40s, and I guess even 50s, it's always like, one day, I'm gonna be the guy I wanna be. Everything's gonna fall into place, right? I'm going to get this money thing in order. I'm going to get this other thing in order. I'm going to fix this thing about my body. And one day, all these things will come together, and then I'll be the guy I want to be. No, that's wrong. If you can figure out the kind of guy you want to be that guy now. Just be that guy now, even if you have none of the attributes of that guy. And by becoming that guy now, the attributes will come to you. You know what I mean? You'll become that. You'll will it to happen. That's how that works. Yeah, never wait for some distant future point of being the guy. Just be the fucking guy. Look at that black guy. They always know I'm filming. I saw him looking right at me. I'm like, alright. I have my improvised weapon. If you stay on certain people's notice, you're okay. I just, out here, I keep moving. I keep moving really fast. So sometimes I have people that want to yell at me about filming. Yesterday, I was on the corner there when I was crossing the street to get away from that other black guy. In yesterday's episode there, I got to the other side to escape the black guy, and some little white woman who looks like some liberal activist. Like, if you could just tell by looking at people, I can start yelling at me because I was filming, But I just kept walking. I just ignore her. And I always think fuck, I'm in one of the biggest tourist spots in the country, or in the world, one of the biggest tourist spots there is. But I get a lot more shit than you imagine. The thing is, when I do the walking show, I'm walking a lot. I'm always moving. So sometimes I probably don't even hear when people are upset with me. And the people who are most upset, it's always the people I didn't even know are around me. I didn't agree to you to take my picture. Take your picture? What are you talking? Where are you from? But Browns get really mad about it. Black people get mad about it. They get mad about fucking everything. The Muslim people do. Because in their culture, you're not supposed to be photographed or something like that. I don't give a shit. I kind of did a turn on them too. I used to say all the time, I have no problem with Muslims. I was trained to hate them by my Jewish media, but Muslims are the boogeyman. And I just watched how they treated Christians now, my people. So I left the Muslim fandom. I'm no longer a fan. You know, they keep trying to build communities here in the United States for Sharia law. A couple places in Texas they're doing it. They had this city they're trying to build, but they're not going to be able to do it. You know, even the governor of the state said fucking no. But they're still rolling ahead with plans as if it's going to happen. And it's called Epic City. And I said to myself, a black Muslim came up with that name. And who's the first guy they showed to talk about it? A black Muslim. You know, what was a fucking iconic city taken? You just know. You know, you just know. But yeah, what they've done in Europe is they've created no-go zones because they move into an area and then there's so many of them in this area that they impose Sharia law. One of these guys is in Texas trying to go around to stores, package stores, telling them they can't sell alcohol or gambling, like scratchies and beer. They're trying to stop them from selling scratchies and beer. Those are like the two main fucking money-making things if you have a store. They don't have scratchies here in Hawaii, but they have them, you know, a lot of other places. And that's always the dumb person's gambling fucking fetish. Oh my god. I had this friend Sean that used to do that. Wherever we were, he'd have to run into whatever store was close by. You know, we'd go out to do, you know, we used to do a lot of comic shows together. I used to be a comic dealer. And we'd go out to these shows and like fucking way out in Massachusetts. He'd see a corner store I'd never been in. He'd go, oh, I gotta stop to run into my scratchies. Because he never bought scratchies from there before. She thought it would, you know, he's constantly buying them where we were. And then he'd win. He'd be like, dude, I want $500. I want $500. Oh, cool, man, good. But, you know, I didn't bring up how much he spent until he got that $500. You know, and he once told me why that doesn't matter. You see, it's something about like, yeah, but I get $500 all at once. Yeah, I lose that money, but I'm paying into something over time to give me the money back. So, you know, I wouldn't have had all that money back. I don't know. He explained to me why he justifies it in his addiction in his head. He's not one of these guys that doesn't do drugs or alcohol. Very against it, but he's addicted to like everything else. You'll notice that with people like that. Everybody is addicted to something, you know? Because we all have that hole. We all have that hole inside us that just wants to be filled by something. We don't know what it is. I see celebrities and sports stars and famous people and tech billionaires. Even if they achieve everything and they get all the money, they still got that hole. And they're still never happy. Having everything doesn't make you happy. Having all the fucking material shit does not make you happy because you still have that hole. And that hole is a God-sized hole that God put there. He put that there so you to remember him. That's what that hole is. 100 different jokes just popped in my head that would be inappropriate. And I'd feel terrible about saying, so I'm going to get out of here before Lou jumps in with some jokes. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.